Leslie Van Houten's attorney. Richard, this case fascinates me to no end. I'm of a certain age, as are many of our viewers. And even those who aren't, they know this case, they know these names. Tell me a little bit about the Leslie Van Houten that you know, as opposed to the Leslie Van Houten that make the rest of us scared.
I met Leslie in 1997 when I went into the prison I was basically trying to fix the parole system. There was an 8-year period where nobody paroled through the parole system in California. And in the middle of that, I went in to try to fix it. And I met Leslie at a lifers meeting where I was representing a bunch of women who were battered and ended up killing their abusive husbands or lovers. And they usually did it in the sleep because it was a lot safer and easier to do it that way. And what I did was I started taking these women to the parole hearings and then trying to go to court and trying to get them released. And Leslie was actually assisting through that process, calming them down before the hearings, because when they go to a parole hearing, they're basically, their life and their future is totally on the line. And so Leslie did a really good job in trying to help. That whole beginning of that project failed because what I took to court were the transcripts of the parole hearing. And these women were beat up so bad so many times that they didn't have any remorse, and that came out in the transcripts. But through that, I met Leslie and I saw what she was doing in there. And when I started to represent Leslie about 10 years ago, and I represented her at 5 of the parole hearings, we would get hundreds of letters from ex-inmates who credited their rehabilitation to Leslie. And the common theme between them all was they said, Leslie had us look deep into our core as to what got us here, and we had to be honest with ourselves. And at that point, then we could go ahead and get into the rehabilitative programs and actually make some sense of them and make progress. And they haven't forgotten Leslie, and they've gotten out, and these people, hundreds of them, have lived really good lives.
So, there's no question that, inmates who are sentenced to death or, if they're lucky enough to get it commuted to life, or inmates who are sentenced to life, many of them find God, many of them do great things. But you still have the other side. You've got family members who lost their loved ones in the most heinous, atrocious, and cruel ways. For that matter, I think a lot of people who are watching right now can't believe that someone who originally had a death sentence may walk the face of the earth again. Is she going to be safe when she gets out? And have you gone over protocols for her to live in the community?
She's actually been out. She's had 3 trials. In the first trial, the Supreme Court reversed the conviction because her attorney died mid-trial, and the Supreme Court ruled that she didn't get a fair hearing. In the second trial, 5 jurors hung out for manslaughter because they said that she didn't intend to kill anybody. Then between the second and third trial, she was out on bail for 6.5 months, and the judge that ordered the bail found that she was not a public safety risk. And when she was convicted in the third trial, they used the felony murder rule where they wouldn't have to prove intent. And the judge, who heard all of the witnesses and saw all the evidence, seriously considered giving her probation. And there was a big pushback from the DA's office, not surprisingly. And so he backtracked and he gave her the next lowest sentence, which was 7 years to life on 2 counts of murder and 1 count of conspiracy. And then he ran all of those 3 counts concurrent. At that time, she had over 8 years of credit for the time she had served. So she was eligible to be paroled at the time she was sentenced, and that was 1977.
I only have 10 seconds left, but I've got to ask you what her reaction was when she found out that the governor wasn't going to challenge this, that this is it, she's going to get out.
She's elated. I warn all of my clients who are in that situation, you are not out until you walk out that gate. So don't get overconfident. Just be careful. Just keep doing what you've been doing. You've done a great job for over 50 years. Just keep doing it.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.